best in the game.
Another year, another F1 game, another what-if storyline to be curated. Welcome to F1 25. It's more specifically the first race on F1 25. At least following on from the Breaking Point story, now we're moving to My Team 2.0 for the revamp for the first time since 2020. And we're here to ask another question. What if Cadillac Andretti F1 team joined the grid a year early and had the opportunity to sign two absolute superstars of the sport? Multiple race winner Aiden Jackson and 7-time world champion Michael Schumacher. Yes, it's unrealistic, but thanks to the My Team 2.0 revamp for this game, I wanted to go in and have some fun. So that's what we're going to do today. Taking control of Michael Schumacher, as one of the new features in this game is that you control the drivers now, as opposed to an overdriver in previous years. So here we are for the 2025 Australian Grand Prix, for the season opener for the first time in quite some time actually. Now we've got the new circuit down to 14 corners after its revamp in 2022, in which Aiden Jackson made a name for himself in turn 9, I believe it is. Let's have a look at the starting grid for today from the back. It's Liam Lawson in the Red Bull racing car now, well the Racing Bulls anyway, and he's 22nd behind Ollie Behrman in 20th, first in the Haas, surprisingly. Alexander Albon, the real outlier, qualifying down in 20th, followed by Hajar, and then Kimi Antonelli, another one who struggled alongside Lance Stroll. Jack Doohan, another of the rookies, is 16th alongside Fernando Alonso. Esteban Ocon is 14th, but the surprise was the Saubers, Bortoletto 13th, Gasly 12th, and Hulkenberg 11th. Aiden Jackson is the first of the Andretti Cadillac cars. He's alongside Carlos Sainz. Oscar Piastri below par in 8th alongside George Russell. Oh, the 7-time world champions Michael Schumacher and Lewis Hamilton is 6th and 5th on the third row, followed by Charles Leclerc and Yuki Tsunoda. The front row of the grid, no surprises. It's Lando Norris and Max Verstappen. And Max Verstappen will be looking to take advantage of the fact that Lando Norris really has made a somewhat negative name for himself as being a man who tends to lose out at the start of the race. And he has done that against Max on a couple of occasions in 2024. So Max will be looking to kind of exploit that weakness again. And, well, it's going to be a bit more difficult for Max. The Red Bull certainly hasn't been up to snuff in pre-season testing. The McLarens have pretty much run away with it, to be honest. And they have dominated the whole weekend, really. But Oscar Piastri, as we said, kind of below par, down in 8th place, surprisingly. And he's going to actually start on the hard tyres as a result, which actually could pay dividends later on. But look at this Cadillac car. Now, this is obviously only a concept design. This isn't the one that most likely will arise in real life in 2026 when they join the grid. It's pretty much just made up from a concept car that someone did, and obviously mixing in with some a F1 Manager 24 mod, bringing Andretti onto the PC version of that game. So I'm kind of using that as a concept for this livery. As for the badge, well, it's just really one of the random badges in this game. Again, like last year, not many customization options right off the bat, which was a bit of a shame, but we made do. And I quite like this one as opposed to most of the others. The original one I was probably going to pick probably didn't really look nice on second viewing, so I kind of went against it and went for this one here. Charles Leclerc is also starting on the hard tyres. So interesting strategies from two of the top three, splitting the strategies with both their drivers. And of course, the other Cadillac car there, Evane Jackson, we know he can cut through the field. Cadillac running the Ferrari power unit for their first year in Formula One, not able to bring through their real engines yet, and they'll be probably be joining that. At the same time, Audi will be bringing theirs, and they take over the Sauber team next year as well. So here we go, lining up at the grid. The start of the 2025 season is just 5 red lights away, and when they go out, we roar into turn 1 in 2025. There they are on the green flag at the back. It is lights out, and away we go, go, go. And will Lando Norris lose to the start? Yes, he will, rather predictably, to be honest. Max Verstappen takes the lead. Yuki Tsunoda has come around the outside and is in turn 2 in second place. That's the best thing Max Verstappen will see this afternoon. His teammate Yuki Tsunoda making good off his promotion from the Racing Bull car to the Red Bull car for 2024, and he's made good on his potential, and Red Bull, that is exactly what they would have wanted. Lewis Hamilton is also passing Lando Norris, as he seems to be really struggling off the start. He's down to 4th place. Well, we said Lando Norris, one of his weaknesses could be starts. He's really proven that here today, unfortunately. I'm not sure what it is with the My Team icon. They seem to have... There seems to be a bit of a bug maybe in the game, as it's showing the wrong one. But in any case, Michael Schumacher has made his way up to 5th. He's passed Leclerc in one of his old teams, Ferrari that is. Both Mercedes, Antonelli down in 19th. And as we said, Antonelli, one of the big strugglers in qualifying, down in 19th place. But he is ahead of the RBs, or the Racing Bulls, and Alex Albert. Alex Albert, another one who really struggled in qualifying. His teammate is 9th. Russell has passed Leclerc for 6th, so Leclerc hasn't got off too well either. And he's down in 7th ahead of Piastri. Piastri making no inroads on the first lap in that McLaren, which has been all dominant up to now. And look, Michael Schumacher's actually on the back of Lando Norris, so Norris could lose more places by the end of this race. He's on the medium tyres while his teammate's on the hard, so you pretty much could understand where Piastri is. But at the end of lap 1, DRS is enabled. That's one of the new rules for this year. The other one being no fastest lap bonus point now, so we probably won't be showing that the entirety of this race. Let's have a look at the race start from Max Verstappen. And so Norris is on the hard tyres as well, so both McLarens have switched strategies. Max just had the better grip. So we missed that at the tyre graph there. I kind of missed that one. That would explain why the Red Bulls are out in front then, because both of them were on the medium tyres, but a better start by Tsunoda. Check this out, he's on the grass, pretty much. He is on the verges of the grass, he is P2, and like we said at the start, that is the best thing Max Verstappen will see today, because it allows him to control the pace and not really have to worry about his teammate being on his rear wing. But that might all come to no fruition anyway, because Lewis Hamilton has passed Yuki Tsunoda in the DRS zone there, and Schumacher has made a move on Norris as well. A great couple of first laps here. We've got a couple of moves going on. Lewis Hamilton, absolutely rocket star. He was 5th, don't forget. He's made his way up to 2nd. So the leader of the 7-time world champions goes to Lewis Hamilton then. They started on the third row together. Hamilton is absolutely flying up into 2nd place. And we've got that's Carlos Sainz and Oscar Piastri. Piastri just continues to struggle, but bear in mind he's on the hard tyres. Look who's following them though. Aiden Jackson in the other Cadillac car. Only still in 10th place. What tyres is he on, do you think? I think the grass is the mediums. So he's really kind of in a bit of a train here. There's going to be a lot less trains in F1 25 than there was last year. That is apparently something that the F1 YouTubers have particularly pointed out, which can only be a good thing. And for the racing terms, we've already got a couple of overtakes in the first laps. So it's a pretty good start to this race today. Yuki Tsunoda has now got Michael Schumacher all over him now. In the last year's video, Michael Schumacher drove a Mercedes and was driving. He was having a race-long battle almost with Max Verstappen before pulling away in the later stages. It's a much different car now, though. Michael Schumacher in the Cadillac car. And of course, this was made possible, really, because, well, not made possible, but it was a kind of a thought I had, because, of course, his son Mick Schumacher is considered, at least according to rumours, for Cadillac in real life. which could be quite interesting. So we'll have to watch this space on that one. Aiden Jackson is still stuck behind Oscar Piastri. He's going to have a look into turn 9 here, where he passed a couple of guys back in 2022. It was Perez and Hamilton. Hamilton was driving a Mercedes at the time, and Perez was driving a Red Bull. And what a difference a few years has made. Now Aiden Jackson's in a brand new environment. This is a brand new environment, and he's pretty much taking it as he would. Pretty good so far. Of course, he is probably expected to be behind Michael Schumacher in terms of, like, well, not raw talent really, because of course Aiden Jackson is a fan of Michael Schumacher and really has molded most of his racing experiences and style after him. So they're pretty equal in that regard, but today Michael Schumacher is doing his business on the racetrack when it comes to the two Cadillac cars, leading comfortably in 4th place and battling with Tsunoda for a podium position. Max Verstappen is checking out of the front, surprisingly. Already 3 seconds clear of Hamilton, but and Michael Schumacher, look at that, round the outside of Yuki Tsunoda. An absolutely stunning move, vintage Schumacher, round the outside. Brilliant move, and that Cadillac has definitely got some pace in it. Let's just hope Aiden Jackson can somewhat extract it. Maybe he would have to pass, most likely Sainz, really. He'd be with the Williams, even though it's a much improved package. Speaking of which, we've got Oscar Piastri going around the outside of turn 9. Aiden Jackson's got a perfect view of a move he did a couple of times in 2022 in the Audi car during Project Prototype. And he's got a grandstand view there, but couldn't make any of it himself. And but that's good driving by Sainz, good defense there for Carlos Sainz in the Williams. The Williams is a much improved package over the last couple of years now. They're actually getting really confident of the car. And Albert's actually looking good in the, but he's down in P18 at the moment. This is Michael Schumacher we're on board with on the free play. And I think he lost a couple of positions. Lit the rear tyres up and then went to the grass and had to give Tsunoda and Russell some space to get through. And a bit of oversteer there from Michael Schumacher. We know he likes a very much a pointy front end and very positive on the front end, very much like Max Verstappen. As Liam Lawson has gone to the side of the road. He is out of the race in his first full season with the Racing Bull team, and unfortunately he's out. And I think the car may have just died on him. It's rather unfortunate, to be honest. Of course, this is the last year that the Red Bull powertrain banner, essentially Honda, will be used on these Red Bull cars, as they will become Ford next season. For Liam Lawson, it's an early bath and out of the race for him in the second of the Racing Bull cars. I'm going to get a bit confused. Very used to RB, to be honest. At least it's not Visa Cash Out this year, or even though that is still in the name, essentially. As Michael Schumacher looks round the outside. That's Aiden Jackson going around the outside of Carlos Sainz. He passed Piastri somewhere, so we didn't even see it. Aiden Jackson has moved up to 9th, and if he can clear Sainz, we can probably expect him to race away, knowing that the Cadillac has very decent pace in the hands of Michael Schumacher so far. It's a very nippy car. So if Jackson could clear Sainz, that would be very helpful indeed. The fact he's passed Piastri is quite a surprise. McLaren, we'll have to see, but of course they're starting on the hard tyres, but today it even doesn't really seem to be paying dividends for them. The McLarens are very below par at the moment, and like we said, it's the best thing Verstappen could see. With the McLarens far in the distance behind him for a change. You know, he's never that far behind them in the races. But, McLaren have the best car on the grid, but today I think they may have chosen the strategy wrong, because both of them are struggling. Norris is actually behind a Cadillac of Schumacher, who's gone slightly off the track there, and that might give Norris impetus to pass. Tsunoda is still ahead of Leclerc. George Russell has moved up to 3rd. Very much unbeknownst to us, and very much been George Russell over the weekend. He's just popped out of nowhere in a very decent position, and he's doing it now. He's in P3 ahead of Tsunoda. Hamilton is 2nd, but out in front, it's Max Verstappen by 2 seconds. The more things change, the more they stay the same, but we're going to see more of Max Verstappen's dominance now. It seems like very much Red Bull in 2023. Still a long way to go in this race, though. Jackson is still fighting with Carlos Sainz. And the Cadillac car certainly seems maybe a bit sensitive to dirty air, and maybe that's why Jackson isn't really able to make any inroads at the moment. But Piastri lessens that dirty air slightly. Piastri kind of went off the circuit, a little bit wide there. Schumacher's battling with Lando Norris at the front. Oh my goodness me! And that was a very close encounter. I think that could be looked at as forcing off the track from Michael Schumacher. Pretty vintage, really, giving his opponent pretty much all the space he needed, and maybe a little bit less than the space maybe required. We'll have to see if the stewards look at that. We're looking at Ollie Behrman, one of the, well, we say rookie, really, he's not, is he? It's his first full season. Oh my goodness me! And that, oh, that's Aiden Jackson! Oh no! Engine failure in Cadillac's first race. Aiden Jackson is out. Oh, what a shame. Oh, and he's been hit by one of the Saubers. I think it was Hulkenberg. And, well, I think that's end fence damage. We'll have to see, but oh no. Poor day for Cadillac. First race of the Ferrari engine, and it has gone boom. And Aiden Jackson is out. And that'll bring back very bad memories of Belgium 2022. Guys, I'm out. Sounds like the engine's dead. Copy that, Aiden. Find a safe place to park it. Sorry, mate. Don't sweat it. Copy. Oh, I think someone just hit me. You okay? Yeah. Not sure who it was, though. Probably one of the Saubers. I guess you didn't see me. I think we'll have to have another look at that. I'm not really sure what happened there, but there was a lot of smoke pouring from Aiden Jackson's car, so you probably can't blame Hulkenberg or Jackson for that. Jackson's trying to find a safe place to park. That's around the outside of Nico Hulkenberg, as he's probably starting to feel that front wing damage a little bit. And Gabriel Bortoleto is now one place of 11th place, which would be some of Sauber's best results in years, quite frankly, because they've been, well, not in the doldrums. They certainly are getting more competitive by the year, to be honest, which votes well for their Audi transition in 2026. But yeah, I don't think we can really blame Jackson, or maybe I think it was Hulkenberg for that collision. There was not a lot of Hulkenberg can see, and Jackson's having to find some place, safe place to park it so he doesn't block the entire field. So I think it was just really an unfortunate case of events there for both drivers. And sadly now, for Cadillac, they're one man short. But it is Michael Schumacher, so I don't think they've got anything to worry about in terms of driver talent. Certainly having a 7-time world champion in the car. But will the car hold out? That'll be the question now. We've already lost one of them. And we already lost another car in Liam Lawson by engine failure. So it looks like the engines, even though they're in the first weekend of the season, most of them are going pop at the moment. And that is Lando Norris right to the edge of the start-finish straight, battling with Michael Schumacher again. And Schumacher gives him a lot more room this time to pass. And Norris makes the move. And it's just McLaren's now at the start of their race, as they tend to come into the race a bit later on, as we have a pit stop. It's Fernando Alonso and one of the Saubers as well. That's Hulkenberg. And that's no change on the front wing, so they don't feel that the damage is significant enough to warrant a front wing change on that car. Behrman is also in for Haas, and now they will drop to the back. But of course they will probably catch up when the others make their stops. And here's Max Verstappen, 3 seconds clear of Lewis Hamilton. Like the good old days, isn't it? Max Verstappen leading by example once again. He's probably been favoured by the fact that McLarens are starting on the hard tyres. It seems to be not a very good choice at the moment. Michael Schumacher still can see the rear with that McLaren. He knows what a McLaren looks like in his prime. Michael Schumacher and Mika Häkkinen were the kind of showcase stars of every single race weekend in a Ferrari and a McLaren, especially in the 98 and 99 seasons, and the 2001 for that matter. And as we said, in 2022, maybe not so much in 2001, as Hamilton's McLaren suffered reliability after reliability gremlin, and Michael Schumacher kind of ran away with the championship after a while, and won it with about 4 rounds to go. And in 2022, he bared it. I think having the quickest championship win still of all time, I think. But I'm not entirely sure, but the races have got much longer in more recent times than when back in Schumacher's day. He had about 16 or 17 races. Now we have 24. This is the first of those this season. Verstappen leads with 4 seconds from Lewis Hamilton as the Ferrari continues to be the surprise, really, of this opening race. Ahead of George Russell, Charles Leclerc is 4th, so Russell's in a Ferrari sandwich, incidentally. Tsunoda is ahead of Norris, and who has got Michael Schumacher breathing down his neck. And look at this, Yuki Tsunoda's actually broken DRS on Lando Norris. The McLarens certainly aren't all with it this weekend. It's strange, really. Even on the hard tyres, McLaren would look mighty, but today it seems to maybe have made the wrong decision. Michael Schumacher around the outside of turn 9, a la Aiden Jackson. Maybe something that Jackson taught him over the course of the weekend, perhaps. Schumacher putting it to good use back into P6. Sainz is 8th in a positive for Williams. It's a shame that Alex Albon. Well, actually, no, he's down in 12th, but he's just been passed by Lance Stroll. Piastri's 9th and Gasly in the top 10 for Alpine. Lance Stroll 11th, followed by Alex Albon. Isaac Hajar is up to 13th. Antonelli's 14th, ahead of Fernando Alonso, of all people. Bortoletto 16th, followed by Ocon. Jack Doohan, who is under pressure to even perform in the first 5 races. Apparently, rumours that he could be dropped in the first 5 races, which is incredibly harsh. Alonso has passed Antonelli around the outside, with DRS assistance down to turn 1. Hulkenberg is 19th with no front wing damage sustainable enough to change it. Ollie Behrman is 20th and last of the running cars. We've had 2 retirements in Aiden Jackson and Liam Lawson, as Cadillac are down to 1 driver now. Very unfortunate for their first race, but they could still be on board to score some points, because Michael Schumacher simply is driving the car. Well, Lewis Hamilton certainly having a Ferrari debut that he probably didn't expect, up into 2nd. But I think it's rather evident that no one had, well, Ferrari doesn't have the pace of the Red Bull at least. And we don't really know if the McLarens do either. Certainly not on the hard tyres anyway. As Lando Norris is nowhere even near Yuki Tsunoda, because he's been battling with Michael Schumacher for the first 12 laps of this race. And this Cadillac car may look a bit plain, but it certainly can be built on. As now we go into turn 1 again with Lando Norris taking to the outside. Schumacher absolutely no way through there this time. And Sainz is pretty much approaching a zone all on his own, as is Oscar Piastri. Hard tyres on McLaren. Certainly not been the best strategy. We'll have to see how it pans out later in the race. Theoretically, Norris and Piastri should be the last drivers to stop of these front-running cars anyway, because everyone else is on medium tyres. So it should work out for Norris and Piastri later, but Piastri now, I would say, is probably about, let's add this up, he's 5 seconds behind Sainz, just 4 seconds behind Norris, then there's less than a second between them, and then there's a second between Schumacher and Tsunoda. So it's approaching about maybe 15 to 20 seconds between Piastri and Verstappen on the hard tyres. So the McLarens are really losing out, and Norris, in the wake of Michael Schumacher's turbulent air in the Cadillac car, he's losing time to Max Verstappen as well. So if this all pans out, Max Verstappen could really have a vintage 2023 lights to flag victory in the Red Bull. And we certainly didn't expect that at the start of the weekend, as Michael Schumacher comes into the pits. That releases Lando Norris, and also Charles Leclerc is in. And there's another one as well. I think it's Russell. And in comes Michael Schumacher then. And I think he overshot his pit box a little bit, so the Cadillac mechanics are having to adjust, and Schumacher's stuck. Schumacher's stuck. I wonder if he had a gear glitch coming out of the pits there. Michael Schumacher has never driven these ground effect cars. In fact, I don't think he's ever driven ground effect cars. He has all been kind of the slimmer cars with V10 engines, and no halo either. Let's have a look at this. Well, he comes in. I think he overshoots his mark a little bit. And the Cadillac could feel a bit slow changing the tyres, and then Schumacher just stays there. I guess he had a gearbox issue there. We'll have to get our pick through to kind of maybe keep an eye on that one. Well, let's listen to the engine. Engine sounds fine. And he came out just ahead of Antonelli in the Mercedes. And he's closed right up to Isaac Hajar in the Racing Bull car as Tsunoda comes in. I think Verstappen has also pitted. And guess what? He's come out right behind Lando Norris. So Norris is only going to lead this race temporarily because he's going to have to pit. Carlos Sainz is now P3. He's probably going long as well. And Schumacher passing Hajar in the Racing Bull. He's rather academic, unfortunately, for Hajar. Not much you can do. So Schumacher moves to the hard tyres. Once Lando puts on also the hard tyres. Well, Schumacher knows about the Pirelli tyres, of course. 2010 to 2011 and 2012. I would say the Pirelli tyres probably really didn't suit Schumacher's driving style that much, as Max Verstappen has passed Lando Norris on the track, so he didn't even need Norris to make a pit stop. And this Red Bull is surprisingly quick. Very quick, in fact. Already grown out to a second lead. It's like we're going back to 2023 here. And, well, we're only surprised because McLaren has dominated the second up to this point. It's Michael Schumacher sizing up Alex Albon down the inside with DRS assistant. Oh, and Albon pretty much forcing a little bit Schumacher onto the grass, but very much like you would expect him to. Michael Schumacher says, well, you forced me off. That's your own fault. You're causing a crash because I ain't moving an inch. And he refused to move, and it paid off. It paid off. He's up into P10. Very much how Max Verstappen would drive it. Sometimes you could probably have a criticism about Max Verstappen and maybe Schumacher to a degree of, well, you try and move, you back out, or we crash. Fortunately, it hasn't happened for either of them, as Max Verstappen made pretty light work of Lando Norris. Look at the police force. This Red Bull is sensational at the moment. What on earth has happened here? Because Tsunoda made a good start up to second as well. Yes, he lost out to Hamilton, but Verstappen looks almost unbeatable right now. And speaking of Red Bull, that's Tsunoda fighting with Alonso. Piastri's in the pits, lap 16. So Piastri, I think the McLarens are last to pit, apart from those on the hard tyres. Let's see. But Piastri and Norris have spent so much time in the wake of other cars, really, that they just haven't been able to really close up to the lead. So that's Albon in the pit as well. So Albon's in. He was on the hard tyres as well. So there was a couple of others on the hard tyres, but I don't think the hard tyres have really worked out very well for the opening stint, as Schumacher had a slight look there at Fernando Alonso as he begins to reacquaintance with his old rival from 2005 and 2006 in particular. And that rivalry, the seeds pretty much started in 2003, especially in that Hungarian Grand Prix where Michael was lapped by Fernando Alonso in a very rare occurrence. Today, Schumacher down the inside. Oh, thought better of it. There's another DRS zone coming up now, and I think Schumacher's lost some time there, so he might not be able to pull a move off here. He's probably going to have a bit of a look. No, sides against it. And I think he has faith that the Cadillac car definitely looks a lot more competitive than the Aston Martin at this very moment, as Carlos Sainz comes in. So, and Norris comes in as well. So the McLarens have been one of the last to pit, but it really hasn't worked out for them today. And guess what? I think Lando Norris is going to have to reacquaintance with Michael Schumacher as he battles with Alonso down the outside before he even reaches turn one with DRS and ERS assistance. Vintage Michael Schumacher, he's up to 6th. Well, Norris has really lost out down in 8th. The McLarens absolutely have lost out today. Gabriel Bortoleto, hear this, in the kick Sauber is 10th. Now, by right of averages, Piastri should close up rather quickly, and in fact, he actually has. To the Sauber. But McLaren, wrong choices today, certainly. See how much pace these two have. Now they're on the medium tyres, but Piastri's probably going to have the worst of it because he's got Gabriel Bortoleto to pass. Schumacher has passed Yuki Tsunoda, probably in the I think it's the second DRS going forward. Norris almost lost the car there. You heard him lift off, and a lot of overspeed there. And he had to lift off there. So the McLaren's overspeed didn't really count for much on that one. And I think he almost lost the back end a little bit there, Piastri. So that McLaren isn't handling too well at the moment. Schumacher's also struggling with the handling of the car a little bit. And there is George Russell. He's just popped up in 4th out of nowhere as Norris passes Alonso as he pits, actually. Alonso was in earlier. So Alonso pitting for a 3rd time. He's on the mediums. Well, and Aston Martin did pit. It was most likely Stroll. You see Alonso pitting there is rather strange. Because it was medium tyres off, I think. Well, Piastri's passing Bortoleto. And every expectancy about that, I suppose. There we go. He's now in clean air. And chase down Carlos Sainz. Just going off on his 11th, by the way. Good effort from him. Compared to his teammate. Down in 20th. The big surprise, Kimi Antonelli down in 18th for Mercedes. Of course, Kimi Antonelli is one of those drivers who had his rating in the game butchered, to be honest. So I don't think that's really a true representation of Kimi Antonelli, because the game did him. They did him rather unfairly in terms of his rating. It's rather unfortunate, to be honest, to see him kind of low as he is. I think Hajar was another one who really got dealt an unfair hand in terms of his rating as well. The ratings in these F1 games can always be controversial, though. It's nothing really new. Bortoleto, though, doing a very admirable job in 10th for the Sauber team. Michael Schumacher. Cadillac cars certainly look up to it. And now, Schumacher is in 5th, but he's got faster cars around him. He's had battles with Norris all day, so I guess the Cadillac are very even in terms of maybe the tail end of the front runners. But this man, Max Verstappen, absolute cakewalk. 15 seconds clear of Lewis Hamilton. What did Red Bull put in this car this morning? Because we certainly did not expect this. And look at that. He is coming up to lap Ollie Behrman, I believe. He's about 15 seconds behind Hulkenberg. So Behrman's probably had a drama somewhere. See him lower down is rather unfortunate considering his teammate is alone. But Max Verstappen, an absolute cakewalk with about 9 laps to go. We certainly didn't expect this going into this weekend. McLaren, as we said, dominated proceedings. And he's already lapped Hulkenberg as well. This is vintage Max from 2023, this is. Well, I think he's the highest rated driver in the game aside from Michael Schumacher. So maybe that counts for something. But even still, 15 seconds clear of Hamilton. And the three McLarens have rather had a bit of a difficult first weekend of the season. Norris has passed Tsunoda and now reacquaints himself with Michael Schumacher again. In the Cadillac car. Bortoleto is pitting. Oh, that's unfortunate. So Bortoleto actually went a long way into this race. And it's just rather unfortunate that he's going to lose out a few positions. Ocon's also coming in as well, as is Jack Doohan. So, I'm not sure if they are very late 2 stops or not. I guess so, because on merit, the Sauber wouldn't really get 10th naturally. Well, a big surprise from this day is the performance of the Cadillac cars, Michael Schumacher in particular. Cadillac really looking decent this weekend. It's just a shame that Aiden Jackson had to drop out due to an engine failure. And here it is. Schumacher is slowly but surely catching George Russell in the Mercedes. We can have a fight for 4th yet for Michael Schumacher, but he's got to try and fend off Lando Norris first. Oh, Michael literally putting him to the edge of the track again. And, well, I think he's going to have to concede at some point because I think the McLaren now is coming into its own, as they often do. The McLarens always come into the race later on. but it's going to be far too late for the win unless Max Verstappen just drop out at any point, but he just seems to be increasing his lead over Hamilton. It's now 16 seconds. And, well, in races like this, Max Verstappen needs to take the maximum amount of points he can in a race where McLaren have really kind of let themselves down starting on the hard tyres. Of course, in a dry race, you must run 2 types of compounds in a dry race. Everyone is fit with that requirement, including Carlos Sainz, who's actually racing away from Piastri in the McLaren. Interesting. He was 5 seconds clear of him. The Williams package certainly looks very much improved. As Schumacher continues to fend off Lando Norris, and he is really closing on George Russell. He's now 2 seconds behind him. Michael Schumacher is having an absolutely stellar second stint of this race, and if he goes fast enough, maybe Michael could be third by the end of this race. But again, he's got to reacquaint it with Lando Norris. Turn 1, and Schumacher has the better entry and exit speed and stays in 5th. Well, vintage Michael Schumacher. Pretty much, the Cadillac is probably underpowered a bit compared to McLaren in particular, and certainly Ferrari and Red Bull. But Michael, once again, it was a trait of his, always putting the car where it really shouldn't be. He's done a stellar job of it. And now he's catching Russell as well. So Verstappen really probably can just turn the engine down now. It's absolutely clear of Hamilton and Leclerc. I have to keep an eye on that. Hamilton and Leclerc. Leclerc has actually brought it within 2 seconds now. So it looks like Leclerc is coming into his own for this second stint. And Norris continues to be frustrated with the sight of that Cadillac rear wing. The man driving it, Michael Schumacher, was never an easy man to pass. Well, down to his side. And DRS assistance from Norris, but Schumacher hangs it in again. Defends valiantly in turn 1 and 2. Stroll and Albon having a bit of a battle down in 12th. Antonelli has been passed by Esteban Ocon. Poor Antonelli. He's not having an easy time of it in the Mercedes. He's ahead of Doohan, Behrman and Hulkenberg, the last of the runners. Well, Hulkenberg may have front wing damage, don't forget. He tapped Aiden Jackson and he was trying to pull off to the side of the road when his engine blew up. Well, got to give an honourable mention to Yuki Tsunoda. He had a very good first into this race, but he's kind of struggled on the hard tyres and he's losing up to Norris. But with Michael Schumacher kind of holding him up, maybe Tsunoda could still catch Norris. There he go. There he is. So he is catching Lando Norris. Red Bull certainly does look moderately quicker than we thought. And Michael Schumacher now right on the rear wing of George Russell now. He's going to have DRS assistance off George Russell as well. Michael Schumacher is absolutely lighting this track up. Well, he's a multiple winner around here. It took him a while though. It took him till the year 2000 to win the Australian Grand Prix, I believe. Because in 91 he debuted. He was in Benetton at the time. 92 his only race win was Spa. 93 his only win was Portugal. That's the real namely. 94 he won a few, but definitely not at Adelaide because he had a bit of a controversial collision with Damon Hill in a title fight. 1995, I'm going to assume he didn't win. I think that may have been Damon Hill, but I'm not entirely sure. And then obviously 1996 to 2000, where Australia was the season opener after their last race at Adelaide in 1995. And Schumacher goes to the outside of turn 9. in vintage Aiden Jackson fashion, passing George Russell here, pushes him, pushes George to the side of the road. Schumacher giving absolutely no quarter today, but he is suffering from oversteer, to be fair. So maybe that wasn't as intentional as it looked for Michael, but he's not been able to pass him on that occasion. Now Lando Norris is a lot closer here, and if he can get the best entry into turn one, Michael will have nothing to defend except for DRS. Michael's going to hang around the outside again. Valiantly defending from McLaren. Valiant defense from Michael Schumacher. And yes, his first Australian Grand Prix was the year 2000. Finally, he won the season over. It took Ferrari some time. They finally got there, and from then, well, the rest was legendary history. That's Max Verstappen. He's lapped Ollie Behrman now. This Red Bull is like, it's like going back to 2023. Let's do the time walk again, I guess. Back to Max Verstappen dominance, I guess. As Michael Schumacher now around the outside of George Russell in the Mercedes. And Michael makes it stick. He is P4. And absolutely thriving in this car. Could Cadillac get their first podium at the first attempt? With Michael Schumacher driving one of your cars, anything is possible. He's 4 seconds behind Leclerc with 3 to go. Although we are hearing that Michael is reporting gearbox issues in his car. Oh no. We've just got word from the pit crew that Michael has had reported some gearbox issues. Well, from having gearbox issues, doing P4 and doing valiant defense is certainly impressive. But then it's vintage Michael Schumacher. Remember, he did half a Grand Prix stuck in 5th gear back in 1994 in the Spanish Grand Prix. He finished second that day. He's on for maybe third now, although it could be a bit out of his reach. But I'd love to hear the Cadillac engine. We maybe get a better read on Michael Schumacher's supposed gearbox problems. Oh, he's cleared Russell's DRS, but sounds alright. Doesn't sound like there's any issue. Maybe it's more internal. Maybe it's like the steering wheel. Don't forget, in 1995, in the Canadian Grand Prix, Michael Schumacher was leading, and he had to change his steering wheel. And that gave the win to his good friend John Alesi. Surprised John Alesi's never been considered for an icon in these games. George Russell and Lando Norris battle over 5th place. And that's the best thing Michael Schumacher can see at the moment if he is struggling with his gearbox. These two are now scrapping over 5th place. We had a stunning race. This is definitely a good advert for this game's AI this year. Very impressive stuff. Car signed to P8 for Williams. Competitiveness for Williams right off the bat. And not only that, he's actually kind of slowly somewhat pulling away from Piastri. So McLaren have definitely made the wrong call on the tyres today. But Norris is still going for 5th. Yeah, maybe it does sound like Michael is struggling a little bit. And this could be a shame. Well, he's got 2 laps to hold on. See if he can. Well, you know he can. You don't need to see if he can, because he probably will, but I think it might be pretty in vain as far as Russell and Norris are concerned. He might even lose 6th to Tsunoda. Well, if we know Michael Schumacher, and I do, obviously fan of him, no secret, got my fingers crossed. And he'll defend for all his worth. But he does give Russell the space. And is Schumacher's car failing him on the penultimate lap here? What a shame. Let's hope he can make it to the end. Cadillac, a stunning debut. Really didn't get a good lead on Aiden Jackson, but he was doing rather well. So he retired from the race in 9th. And there is something, definitely a gremlin growing in that car. Norris has passed him now. This time, no valiant defense from Michael Schumacher. There is definitely a problem in that car. Meanwhile, final lap for Max Verstappen. It has been a cakewalk. We have gone back to 2023, folks, and Max Verstappen is at it again. This is a much inferior Red Bull to the one in 23. Don't forget, though, the problem started in 2023 for Red Bull, even though Max was all but dominant. But, well, Max Verstappen, he can make an inferior car work, very much like Schumacher would do. Well, Ferrari certainly are strong, but we've heard this so many times before. It's Max Verstappen out of turn 14, the final corner, and Max Verstappen will see the checkered flag first once again. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Max Verstappen, impeccable performance from lights to flag. Lewis Hamilton, a fantastic debut for Ferrari, however. Second place, chased down by Leclerc. Norris has been passed by Russell, and Russell got there first. Michael Schumacher is going to be sixth, or is he? There's Yuki Tsunoda, and are they going to go side by side across the line? They are! Oh my goodness me! And the computer says it was a dead heat. But Schumacher, the computer says Schumacher got sixth. Oh my, how close was that? Right on the line. Oh, that's close. How close was this? Let's have a look. Oh, my word. Dead heat across the line. Tsunoda and Schumacher practically even. It's like USA 2002 all over again. But there you can see, just by half a wheel, Schumacher takes sixth. And this is why it was on board. He was in reduced harvesting mode, of course. I don't really think that counted for much. But wow, what a finish. Michael Schumacher takes sixth in Cadillac's first race. But at the front, it's nothing new, sadly. Max Verstappen wins it. But really, because McLaren probably made the wrong call on tyres. Or at least the starting tyres. Both starting on the hards. It just didn't work out. Because Norris spent most of his time in the race behind Schumacher. And pretty much the same for Piastri. They just spent so much time behind other cars. Is that a McLaren weakness, perhaps? Have to wait and see. Well, it is the last year, these ground effect era cars. Max Verstappen has been one of the stars in them, of course. Up there in P1. No fastest lap point for Lando Norris. That's now no longer a thing, which I kind of welcome, to be fair. Piastri actually lost the place overall from where he started. Fernando Alonso gets a point on the board at Aston Martin. In terms of rookie watch, the winner is Gabriel Bortoleto in 14th place. That's a good day for Sauber, to be honest. Antonelli down in 17th, Hajar 16th, and Liam Lawson, well, he's not a rookie really, and he was Behrman, but they were 19th and DAF respectively. The only two retirements, Liam Lawson and Aiden Jackson. So of course the championship positions is academic because it's where they finished. So in the constructors, here it is. Ferrari lead over Red Bull. Wow. Cadillac gets some points on the board with Michael finishing 6th. Mercedes go ahead of McLaren on equal points. I guess Mercedes were higher position finish, so that's why they got ahead there. Well, some people may rightly criticise Max Verstappen sometimes for maybe his driving standards, really. But one thing you can't deny is this boy's talent. Even an inferior Red Bull, which has looked nowhere throughout most of the season so far into this race, Max Verstappen somehow always manages to pull through and win in cars that don't deserve to be there. That's one thing you can't deny.